So aside from picking a fast maturing variety and starting them indoors in March, the other trick was what I've done here, where I've got this wall. Hey, it's Greg here with MaritimeGardening.com, and I thought I'd do a video today talking about eggplant. I love eggplant, my whole family loves eggplant, and for years I've been trying to grow it on my property with very little success. The conditions here are less than ideal for growing eggplant. It's kind of foggy and overcast much of the summer. We don't have like the longest sort of ideal growing conditions, ideal growing in season, all the good sun and the good heat. We just don't have those sorts of things. So I thought I'd talk, and this year I actually had some success, and I'm pretty happy with what I've got here. So I thought I'd talk about that for those of you that have struggled with eggplant, trying to get good yields and good results. Okay, so let me just show you what I got here. This is third week of August, okay, 2023. Here's my eggplant. Okay, so I got plants that are over 2 feet high. I got two different varieties of eggplant. These lighter ones, you can see they're kind of like a white. This is called Miro, M-I-R-O. Okay, and these other ones are, you can see that like these ones have just green leaves, but these have a purple vein leaf, right? This is called Ping Tung, sort of an Asian style, like you might see in a Chinese grocery or Asian grocery, or various dishes that you can get at a Chinese restaurant. They look like this, okay? So both these varieties of eggplant are fast growing. So number one, if you live in a place with a shorter growing season and sort of less than ideal sun and heat, you want to get a variety of eggplant that has a short number of days to maturity. I looked at a number of different varieties of eggplant, and I think these were relatively, like some of the shortest I could find. These Miros that are you can buy with my sponsor Vessi Seeds are pretty short. I can't remember what they were. I'll put it up on the screen. Maybe 80 days, something like that. So I started these in a window in my house in like March. I have to say, I think the Miro, both Miro and Ping Tung, are relatively fast growing, quick to maturity. The kinds you tend to see in the grocery store, which I believe are the variety called Black Beauty, they do not grow well where I am. At least my particular, I mean, a lot of people, when I say where I am, they think I mean Nova Scotia or the Maritimes or Atlantic Canada. When I say where I am, I mean like where I live. You know, it's a province is a big place, and there's many different kinds of microclimates. Specifically where I live is just less than ideal growing conditions for heat-loving plants like peppers and eggplants. So I chose these because of their short days to maturity, but I have to say I think the Miro is outperforming the Ping Tung. You can see here's a Miro. It's maybe 3 feet high, and this Ping Tung's about 2 feet high. And all of the Miros have outgrown the Ping Tungs. I mean, the Ping Tung look healthy, but the Miro just seems to have, I mean, look at all the flowers. I mean, I got probably another month. Sometimes we get a frost. We can get a frost in early or middle September, but you can kind of semi-rely on not having frost till late September. So I'm hoping many of these blooms can actually turn into fruits, right? You can see the Miros have a pretty good yield, right? It's just sort of a bushy, stocky plant with a lot of fruits. Okay, so aside from picking a fast maturing variety and starting them indoors in March, the other trick was what I've done here, where I've got this wall, right? And this is about almost 2 feet. I think it's about 2 feet. It's a 2 foot high wall all the way around with just plastic polyethylene, right? Stuff you'd use for indoor construction vapor barrier you'd use in your house. What people in the trades might call 6 mil poly. So I just have these 4 panels. Well, not 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 panels, right? And I just drove stakes in the ground, and I just tied them on at the top. So they're held in place at the top by just being tied on like this, and then their bottom they're just held on by just being stuck, sitting on the ground, friction. And we've had some high winds over the course of the growing season. These have been out for the entire growing season, and they haven't blown over, they haven't moved, you know, so I didn't have to do much to hold them in place. Okay, so the reason you put these around is just to increase the temperature a little bit. You can grow them inside a greenhouse or some sort of domed enclosure, okay? The problem with doing that sort of thing is that if they're covered, it means you have to water them. I haven't watered these at all. I mean, the week I moved the plant transplants out, I watered them for, you know, a week or so just to get them started. But I haven't watered them since then, so that would have been June sometime, right? These have not been watered all season long. I got a good mulch down, that sort of thing. But I haven't watered these. That's the advantage of using this. So, I mean, this doesn't hold as much heat as having a greenhouse or a dome. But it does, there's just less, because there's less wind moving around the plants, there's just less thermodynamic activity. There's less heat transfer, right? So the sun shines down, heats the ground, and instead of there being a whole bunch of breezes moving that air around, there's just less breezes moving the air around. So the ground gets warmer, right? And the air surrounding the plants is warmer. So in effect, it's warmer right here in this little pen where I've got the plants. And this is really important because heat-loving plants, I mean, they like warm air, but a lot of them, they just cannot draw nutrition, water and resources and nutrients up from the soil if the soil is not the ideal temperature for them, right? So they want warm air, but they also want warm soil. And for where I am, just using this little system has made all the difference in the world. I mean, every year I grow eggplant, and every year I get pretty lousy results. And I've thought about doing this for a number of years, and this year I just decided to go for it. It was a bit of a pain slapping all these little things together. I mean, it's just 1x3, right, stuck together with these little metal things, right, just on one side, and then I just staple gun plastic, right? So it's pretty low tech, low budget construction, right? And this was just some stuff I had lying around, right, really. But it should last, I don't know, a few seasons. It's easy to pack up, stack them on top of one another, get them out of the weather for the winter, right? But I think this has made all the difference in allowing the air around the plants and the soil the plants are in just get a few degrees warmer and get the eggplant closer to the ideal conditions they prefer for growing well. And I've grown Miro before, and they haven't done as well as this year. This year they've really done well. So I think in the future I'm going to stick with this system of, I'm probably going to stick with the Miro because it outgrew the ping tongue. Stick with using the Miro, and I'll always play with other varieties. If I see something that grows even faster and has even shorter days to maturity, with the pen and with a good mulch. This worked out great. I just picked a few tonight. You can see them over there. Right, so they're not particularly big ones, but doesn't matter. You get enough of the small ones, that's all you need. And I buy this type of eggplant from the grocery store all the time and use them in my cooking, so I'm perfectly fine. You can't do like a stuffed eggplant with them, but I don't cook them that way anyway. I just sort of like to fry them with garlic and have them as a side dish. So I'm expecting, the plants are fully mature and fully flowered out, so I'm expecting, hopefully we don't get any frost in September. I mean, you never know. Things are warmer than ever, right? The hottest summer ever in the history of the world. But because of where I live, that doesn't mean we can't get frost in September anyway. There's just nothing's guaranteed anymore, right? Everything's so chaotic. But I'm expecting great things in September, and a good yield. So anyway, yeah, I just thought I'd share that little tricks, choosing a fast-growing variety, getting them started early indoors, and using a pen instead of a greenhouse just for ease. I mean, a greenhouse would work, but the problem with the greenhouse is you got to hand water everything because the rain won't find its way in as well anyway. I mean, the groundwater can get in, I suppose. But the other thing with the greenhouse is every single day you got to vent it, right? You got to be messing around with that, and it's got to be on your mind. You can't, if you forget to vet your greenhouse one day, you can lose everything because things get too hot. So this is just a kind of a lazier way of doing it. Also, I should say, before I stuck these in the ground, I laid the panels flat to heat the ground up for about a week or two. So I warmed the soil a little bit before planting, just so that the eggplant didn't have that shock that they can get when they go from being indoors at room temperature to outdoors with all the dramatic shifts in temperature. And the soil outdoors is, especially where I live, in June or late May, the soil is going to be a lot colder than it would be indoors right that time of year. So anyway, I hope you found that interesting. Just a few tips on growing eggplant under less than ideal conditions. I've often said one of the key components to being a successful gardener is persistence and almost stubbornness. And I mean, I used to live in a different part of the province where I found it easy to grow eggplant, but since moving here, where it's more coastal and it's on there's just kind of a microclimate here where things don't, there's a term for it. I think it's called Acadian boreal, something like that. It's just less than ideal growing conditions for things like this. So I've had to just try other things and stick with it. And I mean, it's like I've failed at achieving something like this about 10 years in a row, right? And finally, success. So, it's always worth staying with the problem and just continuing to try different things until something works. I mean, it could just be that they're growing well because we had an exceptionally hot summer. But, I mean, 10 years, nothing worked. Finally, something worked. I think it depends. And choosing the right variety. So I hope you found that interesting. If you did, please like, share, subscribe. Until next time, get out there, get at it, have fun in your garden. Thanks for watching. Hey, if you want to help support everything I'm doing here, go to Vessies.com to buy whatever you need for your garden this year. And use my coupon code GAVS23 to get free shipping as long as there's a pack of seeds in the order and there's no oversized items in the order. Check out the description box of this video for details. You can buy everything you need from Vessies. They have seeds, fruit bushes and trees, soil amendments, pest solutions, tools, clothing, and lots of other stuff too. So yeah, if you want to help support everything I'm doing here and they sell something you need, buy it from them using my coupon code, and happy gardening.